It's obvious that you listen to this show to hear about and support other people's dreams. But what about yours? What is your dream project? I'm here to help you break through whatever is in the way of your dreams and get you to the finish line. Go to dreamingbigcoaching.com today and take the first step. Literally, it's a button you can click to sign up for a free consultation with me. Let's find out if I can help you reach your goal. Click on Take the First Step. It's that simple to start the rest of your life. Get coached by Rob Southgate at dreamingbigcoaching.com. Welcome back, everybody, to the Go Fund This podcast, the podcast where you find out about the coolest crowdfunding campaigns out there that you're going to want to know about. I'm your host, Rob Southgate, and today I'm joined by Mitchell Wallace to discuss the Crowdfundr campaign for the TTRPG Porcelain Souls. And now, here's Mitch. Mitch, thanks so much for joining me on Go Fund This. You have a crowdfunder going right now, and just to give it kind of a setup for the audience, the goal is $6,000. At this moment, it'll be different when people are listening, but it's at $1,720, which is 29% of the way there. You got 20 days left. So you are in a great spot. That is what I call striking distance. If we were at this and you were at, 1 day left, I might be sweating it, but you are going to have no problem with this. But that doesn't mean that the listener should not be jumping in, supporting this whole thing, this campaign, because when they hear about it, they are going to want to. This thing is so crazy and fun. So, Mitch, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, what your background is a little bit.
Yeah, of course. My name is Mitch or Mitchell. One of the two. Like I said before, I have like a judgment for which people use when they refer to me, but none of them are bad. They're just, the way I judge people. But yeah, I'm part of Penny for a Tale, and Penny for a Tale started off like a couple years ago when I went to PAX Unplugged and I fell in love with the indie TTRPG community. And my friend was like, you should do a Twitch about it. And I did.
Nice.
So I started streaming and then I got into marketing for TTRPG companies. And then I released my own TTRPG Necrobiotic, which is actually they delivered it Friday. So this
exciting.
This past Friday. Yeah. 3 pallets, like a little bit more than 2,000 products. It was a long day, but we got it down into my basement and are getting ready to ship it out. So yeah, I mean, I've been around the convention circuit with Gen Con, Origins, and PAX Unplugged for the last couple of years, and of course this year too. Not only do I do like Necrobiotic, which was the first TTRPG, but I write for Chew, the role-playing game, based on the comic books. It was my favorite.
It's so good. Yeah,
it is
cool.
Like, the producer was like, "Hey, can you write something about Poyo?" And I stared at my screen for several hours. I'm like, I don't know if I'm worthy of this. Like,
I don't know if I'm worthy, but I'll make a bad one if I have to. But yes, what a great sandbox to play in. I love it.
Oh, the amount of fun food powers, like cybernetics and all sorts of weird stuff. We went completely off the deep end.
It's probably why when I was reading it, my brain was exploding, because I was picturing like, if I could have these powers in a character, this would be awesome.
Yes. Yeah. When I because I've been a huge fan of it for a while. And then I was talking to Rob Guillory concerning another project. And I was like, that's when the dots connected. I was like, this is Rob, the artist.
Yeah, right.
We need to make this happen, because that is a world I want to explore.
Yeah, right.
Food.
Right. Yeah, me too. Okay, so the project that you have right now, though, this is the important thing that we got to get out there. And anyone listening, trust me, Mitchell can go on for hours. I can go on for hours. We've already been on for an hour. I will have him back on another show. It's called TTRPG Insider. and I don't have a time limit on it, and we're just going to talk and hear his stories and have a great time.
This is going to be like a day and a half with that.
Maybe we'll do a special a special 3-parter.
Yeah.
Mitchell saves the world, and we'll just go through it. But today we are talking about the crowdfunder for Porcelain Souls. Why don't you give us some background on Porcelain Souls?
Yeah, Porcelain. I told the community I wanted to make a horror TTRPG. And I had been doing a lot of stuff with Cult Divinity Lost, doing marketing and then like a lot of streams and stuff like that. So I feel like a lot of the community knows me as like a horror GM, and I love horror. When I released Necrobiotic, I meant that as a kind of a sad sort of TTRPG. And so when I released Porcelain or started talking about Porcelain Souls, and I'm like, yeah, this is going to be my horror one. They're like, but wasn't Necrobiotic? Into that, I would say, in the same way that I don't like looking back now that I have ingested a lot of horror. I see Necrobiotic in terms of as horror is like Ghostbusters or like Goosebumps. Like when I was younger, yeah, that was horrific.
Right.
But
now you've written Barbarian, which is, or X.
Exactly, right? Like
that is no Ghostbusters.
Yeah, we've gone so far, and we'll continue to go far on like the creepy and stuff like that. And so Porcelain Souls was like, well, let's do that. Let's make things weird, uncanny, strange, and unfamiliar. And so there are a couple things we're doing that I'm pretty excited about. One of which is we're using pretty much like 99% photography. So the dolls that you see on there, and the game lets you play as dolls being the like protagonists of these stories. But yeah, they are ball jointed dolls, very famous and popular in like Asia. They cost a lot of money, and the way that they make them so human like is ridiculous. And so like that's the basis. And a lot of people are afraid of dolls that look very human anyway.
Yeah.
But then the other part of it is we also brought in some horror photographers who have created some horrific things that we get to show off as nightmares, as the things that are hunting you down. And so all of this was kind of inspired by the movie 9 and the works of Brothers Quay. So we just kind of want to showcase the morbid and the dark. Like I sometimes call it like a survival horror TTRPG where, yeah, you just don't know.
Hi there, I'm Rob Southgate and host of this show. This is the trailer for TTRPG Insider, a podcast about, you guessed it, tabletop role-playing games. Actually, it's more specifically about the amazing people that create TTRPGs. Each episode, I'll interview someone who is involved in making the games that we all love to play. You'll hear from world builders, artists, musicians, writers, marketers, people that run the Discord, and really just anyone involved behind the scenes. And this isn't just a promo show talking about how great their games are. I want to hear their stories. How they got to where they are. What's their history with gaming? Any tips they can give, and hopefully some fun stories about their lives. So, let's make this official. Welcome to the TTRPG Insider Podcast. TTRPG Insider is a celebration of an industry that I love. I started this show so I would have a chance to talk with the people that you might meet at a convention if you're lucky enough. So grab your dice, throw on some headphones, and come with me on this journey. Oh yeah, make sure to subscribe or follow wherever you listen to podcasts to hear our first episode when it drops this week. Yeah, the imagery that I'm looking at on the crowdfunder is, I'm not one who's scared of dolls, but this is terrifying stuff. The worst is the introduction, the one that looks like a ballerina with the hair pulled back. I can hardly look at it. And then the when you go down and you get that one that looks like it's right out of what was it? It Follows, where the guy got really big and was coming in the room, and you're like, that freaked me the hell out.
Yes.
And I'm not one who gets scared by stuff. And I was like, what is this? And you've got this image of somebody coming into a room and their head's touching the top of the door frame. And I'm like, I need to play this, and I need to be left alone then, because this is awful.
And like, yeah, like all of those are just people. Like it's all photography and just like these brilliant people. And it's like, holy heck, you're scary.
Yeah,
like,
it's so good.
Horrific.
So okay. Yeah. The money is to get this project completed, get everything out there. There's a whole talk on here. When you look at the thing, it gives you a full breakdown of the game, of the gear system, of the characters. What about tiers? This is something people are always asking. Like, what are some of the highlights? Don't go through all of them. Just pick a few that you think like, yeah, somebody's going to really want this.
Yeah. So one of my favorites, and I think it's just really my absolute favorite, is Engage to the Bazaar, which is our $55 tier.
Yeah.
And that is going to help. We will work with you to create like these awesome and weird horrific powers for the dolls. And the dolls have like magic and stuff like that. The Rose faction itself like removes one of their eyeballs and plants a rose seed into their socket, and so they bloom out this rose from their eye.
It's awful.
Yeah, and that kind of fuels their abilities, and their abilities are like, whipping out these like threads that can control people for a limited time, or there are other powers where you just start putting in pieces of other dolls on you and become like this horrific multitude of hands and arms and legs. And so, yeah, like that's one of my favorites, because I'm really looking forward to working with the community and just kind of creating these very weird and odd powers. And that's kind of something I stressed with the team, was like, if there's ever anything that feels comfortable, shift it a little bit. And so when we were talking about like the origins of the dolls, which starts with the 3 queens, I was like, let's present it like that, but let's 4 queens, right? Because 3 is a nice number. People feel a lot of like there's themes to it. But throughout the whole story, we want people to look at it and not be familiar with anything, just because of the directions we're going.
Yeah. What about Through the Looking Glass? What is this?
Ooh, Through the Looking Glass. So we're going to be doing a full 10 session campaign by one of our team members. You can invite your friends and stuff like that. You'll get, access to kind of the way we're going about it. So we'll be like working with you during the campaign, not only telling an amazing story, but also working with you to kind of bring in your characters into the final book. And so it's just kind of like, if you are really interested in the project and want to ingrain yourself in it, like that is the one to do, where you will just get to hang out with us.
That's the full experience right there.
Yeah, it is. It is everything. And one of my favorite things I did for Necrobiotic was there was a couple of campaigns and short one-shots that I did. And there were some times where I was like, I was so happy with the way it turned out that I was like, I'm putting you guys in the game. And so I have like, I gave them custom art pieces of their characters. And we put it in the book so that it could be like, oh, that one shot, we did it. It's right there. Those are our characters. And
that's
so I
cool.
want people to be able to do that with this one as well. So yeah.
So once again, we've got a lot of time here. We've got 20 days, but that doesn't mean you should sit on it. If you're interested, definitely there's a really good trailer you can go and see if you go to the Crowdfundr. And I know I say this every time, but I'm going to say it again. I'll put the links in the show notes. It makes it a lot easier to have a clickable link that you can go to. But right now they're at 1720. They're trying to get to 6,000. Whatever you can do it. Because this is so cool. And I'm a huge horror fan. Looking at this, I'm like, yeah, this is just tweaking everything. And it actually, I'm sure, Mitchell, you're going to agree with me on this. It's more than the game. When something like this gets funded, it is the fuel that brings the next project forward.
Yes. Yeah, it does. And it helps us understand, like, okay, is this something the TTRPG community wants? And that's kind of why we started off small, because this is such a, we're doing photography, which, there aren't many TTRPGs that focus on that. And we're choosing some aspects that I feel will make some people uncomfortable, but for others who like really enjoy that type of stuff, like the dolls and stuff. I have one friend who's like, I love it. I don't want to touch. I don't want to look at it. And I'm like, that is fine. I understand.
As long as I don't have to see a rose growing out of their eye, I think I'm going to be okay. That
exactly. Yeah. It should.
And you know what's going to be the worst part is eventually when you decide, oh, yeah, this one had something other than a rose. Like, there's something worse than the idea of a rose with those thorns growing out. That's when I'm going to melt down and have to go into the fetal position. I have a feeling, which isn't that what we want with horror?
Yes, exactly.
We want to have something
you want to
be like, reaction.
Yeah, I don't want to be able to sleep. And one of the antagonists.
Oh, good. Then look at some of these pictures.
They're horrific. We just finished up a nightmare called the Chattering Teeth, which is just like this human-like head that buries itself under the debris and chatters its teeth. It's kind of like a echo censoring thing. And when a doll kind of walks over it, it just kind of bursts open and grabs it, bringing it down under the debris. And so like, I really like this project will help us take a picture of that specific thing and put it in the book with our top, because I looked up like the top horror photographers and I got some of them onto the project and they're super excited. And then I got Ryan Shreves, who is he's a composer who did Portrait of a God, which is a short film, as well as a couple of others you can find on YouTube and a couple others. But his mastery of composition, like I heard the theme for Portrait of a God and I was like, I have to poke him for this. And so he got the track for the trailer is his composition for this project. We hope to eventually have a soundtrack developed by him for the final Kickstarter. We even found a Filipino band whose members are all dolls, and they even have a doll fan club, and they do like this Depeche Mode like Filipino like rock, which is dark and stuff, with kind of like a lot of Catholic influences. And so we were talking to them and we're like, we want to put your band in this world so that people will be like, yeah, that I know those characters, like you get to interact with them and stuff like that. And they were very excited.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Their website's really cool. Their music's great. And I was like, this needs to happen. So we're trying to like tackle this whole project kind of with a lot of different multimedia angles. Even the book itself, we are working on a kind of like a flip book mini story. So if you kind of flip the book real quickly, you'll see like the story play out throughout all the pages. And so we're just going all out trying to.
Yeah, what a great project. You're thinking of everything, and that's really key to success. So that once again, it's a crowdfunder. Just go to Crowdfundr and look up Porcelain Souls, or click on the link in the show notes. Or if you're hearing this on like a little snippet thing, it'll be underneath it. I'll have a little link. You can go right to it. Click. Mitch, where can people find you to communicate with you?
Yeah, you can usually find me on Twitter as Mitch S. Bustios. And that's usually the best place to find me at. Other than that, if you want to know more about Penny for a Tale, just go to pennyforatale.com. And I will be at Gen Con and Origins coming up. So those are like the big two with Necrobiotic. And we're going to bring a doll. So you guys, people will be able to see what they look like in person. So we're having a doll sent over from China to showcase what they look like. And so I'm super excited about that.
That's really cool. And once again, broken record here, but I'll put all those links in the show notes too. So get in touch with Mitchell. If you have questions, you can tell Mitch is a good guy. He's willing to talk and willing to sell Porcelain Souls and Necrobiotic and whatever else is coming down the pike and really tell you about it. So, Mitch, thank you so much for being on. Best of luck with this. I will be watching this one closely.
Oh, yeah, I am so excited. Really, the money goes to helping us protect everyone from the dolls. So if we don't reach this funding, all these dolls you see will just be unleashed. Okay, then they'll have no place to go. All right, because we're putting them to work. So just something to think about. If
you're the first one to threaten the audience on here, so well done.
Yeah, like they'll have a lot of free time. So just something to think about.
Something to think about. Yeah, I will be thinking about that. Thanks, Mitch. Thanks for the nightmare.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I am all in on this project. The crowdfunder for Porcelain Souls ends on March 15th at 2:59 a.m. Go to Crowdfundr and support this terrifying project. Check out those pictures. You'll know what I'm talking about. And be sure to tell your friends all about it. You heard him. If he doesn't hit this goal, the dolls may be paying us all visits. Thanks again to Mitchell for coming on the show and sharing this cool project with us. If you know anyone who has a crowdfunding effort about to launch or currently going, send them our way. We love to share cool projects and to help people reach their goals. You can connect with me through the Go Fund This Podcast Facebook page or via email directly to rob@smgpods.com. You can find a link to this crowdfunder and any links we discussed in the show notes. Go Fund This is a production of Southgate Media Group, hosted, edited, and produced by me, Rob Southgate. Thanks again for listening to Go Fund This.